Jai Sri Krishna Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So yesterday we were discussing about the paraphernalia of the Lord. They are our impetus to increase the bhava during the sadhana. And this was particularly discussed under the category of tadbhava aviruddha. Are the limbs of sadhana themselves, and they are not opposed to the bhava. And this is a neutral terminology, it is said, that reflects to the nature of certain devotional activities that do not explicitly connect with the devotee's raga or attachment. But by the passive nature, raga is implied. Passive nature means our attachment is not directly on the Lord, but his paraphernalia. We do not see much difference because as the Lord is worshipable, his paraphernalia is also worshipable. And we pay almost the same attention to the paraphernalia of the Lord, just like Lord himself. This includes deity's clothes, garlands, and ornaments, and marking the body with the Lord's name. These items are marking, and the markings do not directly nurture a devotee's mood, but when the devotee is aware of them, indirectly they do. Therefore, these acts of devotion can be accepted as raganuga sadhana. And Uddhavji is quoted, then Tvayopabhukta Shragagandha Vaso Alankrita Charchitaha Uchishta Bhojino Dasas Tava Mayam Jaema Hi. Simply by decorating ourselves with the garlands, fragrant oils, clothes and ornaments that you have already enjoyed, and by eating the remnants of your meals, we, your servants, will indeed conquer your illusory energy. When we pay respects equally to the paraphernalia of the Lord, when we receive is as a gift, or even sometimes we pay the price in auctions during certain occasions, that paraphernalia of the Lord are auctioned. The intention is a side thing that you may be able to pay the price for purchasing it in the auction. So, because we value so much, as good as God himself, his paraphernalia are also worshipable. And other items of devotion that are not opposed to the desire mode of the devotion are the worship of cows, serving brahmanas, and hearing stories from Puranas and Mahabharata. Mm. This is also one of the practice generally they do during Ekadashi. They want to keep them immersed in the Leela of the Lord. So, the Bhava Aviruddha is the terminology that those impetuses which are not contrary to the inspiring the powers. In the light of the recent passing of His Grace Kurmarupa Prabhu, who established care for cows in Vrindavan and who attained perfection through his many years of dedicated, selfless service to Krishna's cows, a special mention should be made of the cows in the Dham, all ISKCON Dhamas worldwide, compared to the cows elsewhere, which are mentioned within the belongings to the category of Tadbhav Aviruddha. As Krishna's cows are residents of the Dhama, they are worshipable as the Dhamavasis. Moreover, the Raghavartma Chandrika in the section entitled "And the Eternal Activities," Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, the process of hearing, chanting, and other devotional practices are eternal activities that the devotees should perform incessantly, connecting him with the cherished bhava, the bhava sambandha. Thus, when cow protection is done in the consciousness that it is integral to one's eternal bhava, as a gopa or gopi, service to Krishna's cows is tad bhava maya. Srimad Bhagavatam uh, 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 is also becoming an impetus to create the bhav, as we saw yesterday. Mm. Um, of course, the study of Srimad Bhagavatam is in a different category than the study of other Puranas. As mentioned earlier, hearing and reading Srimad Bhagavatam is related to the cultivation of bhava, and therefore learned Vaishnava follow the injunction of Bhagavatam itself and makes its study an essential part of the daily sadhana, Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. This has been emphatically said in first canto, second chapter, 18th verse, recommends that devotees make service to it a perpetual activity. That Nityam means eternal, always serving Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavatam or um, um, you see the book Bhagavatam means study of the scripture Bhagavatam. Uh, Bhagavan himself directly is Bhagavatam. And the devotee who is, Prabhupada said, walking, talking Bhagavatam. All three are, if they are being served, that very conducive to create the bhavas. All right. The comparison between the benefits of reading Srimad Bhagavatam to other Puranas is given by Sutta Goswami. Says all other Puranic scriptures shine forth in the assembly of saintly devotees only as long as that great ocean of nectar Srimad Bhagavatam is not heard. In front of Srimad Bhagavatam, they all become pale. Srimad Bhagavatam is declared to be the essence of all Vedanta philosophy. One who has felt satisfaction from its nectarian mellow will never be attracted to any other literature. Uh, this is also said in Srimad Bhagavatam, 12th canto, 13th chapter, 14th and 15th verse. Nice references there. 12th canto, 13th chapter, 14 and 15 verses. So, so special mention should be made to the service of Vaishnavas as an ingredient of Tad Bhava Sambandhi, Tad Bhava Anukula, and Tad Bhava Aviruddha. According to the Krishna consciousness of the Vaishnava or Vaishnavas being served, the mood of Raganuga sadhak will benefit accordingly. So, why do we serve Vaishnavas? Because they are also the factor that helps us to generate the bhava. Rupa Goswami describes three kinds of Vaishnavas in the following verse. Uttamadhikari, who has realized his Swarupa and is competent to bless the Raganuga Bhakta in all ways. Madhyamadhikari, who is similarly situated in bhava as the Raganuga Bhakta, and the Kanishtadhikari, whose greed has not yet awakened. The Acharya writes, Krishneti yasya giritam manasendriyeto dikshasti cheta pranatibhischa bhajantam misham Susrushaya bhajana vigyan anyamanya nindadi sunya hridayam ipsita sangalabdya. One should mentally honor the devotee who chants the holy name of the Lord. One should offer humble obeisances to the devotee who has undergone spiritual initiation, diksha, and is engaged in the worship of deities. And one who associates with the fully serve that pure devotee who is advanced in undeviated devotional service and whose heart is completely devoid of the propensity to criticize others. This is in Upadeshamritam, 5th verse. So, because his blessings can elevate the practitioner, service to the first class devotee is bhava sambandhi. Because his friendship is conducive to the mood of the practitioner, service to the second class devotee is bhava anukula. And because he is a Vaishnava, to whom showing respect is always pleasing to Krishna, service to third class devotee is bhava aviruddha. All kinds of Vaishnavas are dear to Krishna, and so a Raganuga Bhakta sadhaka knows well that they should all be rendered service according to their advancement. How one offers service to devotees in part of Vaishnava etiquette, in which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu calls the ornament of a devotee. तथापि भक्त स्वभाव मर्यादा रक्षण मर्यादा पालन है साधुर्भूषण. It is the characteristic of a devotee to observe and protect the Vaishnava etiquette. Maintenance of Vaishnava etiquette is ornament of a devotee. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spoke this in Chaitanya Charitamrita Antya Leela, 4th chapter, 130th verse. How do we recognize the advancement of another Vaishnava? Srila Prabhupada says that it is our responsibility to have the intelligence to distinguish between the three levels of the devotees. And Prabhupada comments on Sri Upadeshamrita. He writes, in this verse, the Rupa Goswami advises the devotee to be intelligent enough to distinguish between Kanishtadhikari, Madhyamadhikari, and Uttamadhikari. It's not a discriminating practice, but they are all Vaishnavas, but their categories are different. Who demands more respect? That is most important thing. And one that demands most respect must become our natural, inspirer to cultivate the power. So naturally, you reciprocate in the same way. And if one neglects to serve Vaishnava properly, then one will commit an offense called Vaishnava Aparad, which will stunt and eventually destroy not only one's raga, but one's devotional creeper even. Vaishnava Aparad is the worst aparad. Chakravarti Thakur says service to Vaishnava is very special limb of devotion. Therefore, we should be exceedingly careful in this regard. Tad bhava pratikula are the practices of Vaidhi Bhakti that cannot be incorporated in Raganuga sadhana and are thus opposed to the bhava. Those activities or meditation that either indirectly or directly invoke the mood that is different from once inspired after perfection should be discontinued by Raganuga sadhaka. One that is contrary, that mood cannot be accompanied. So, some examples of this practice are Karanyasa and Anganyasa. Assigning various names of Lord Vishnu to different parts of the body and meditating on Krishna's Dwarka pastimes or worshipping his queens. Please understand this part very carefully, that certain activities of Vaidhi Bhakti and that cannot be incorporated in Raganuga sadhana because they are opposing to the bhava that is essential to be created. This practice is of meditations or anything related to that invoke a mood that is different from once inspired or aspired after the perfection should be discontinued by the Raganuga sadhaka. Some examples of these practices are, the process of karanyas and anganyas, assigning various names of Lord Vishnu to the different parts of body, and meditating on Krishna's Dwarka's pastime or worshipping his queens. Two things cannot, be promoting the bhava. When we perform anganyas, and at the same time thinking of Lord in say in Dwarka pastimes or worshipping his queens, it has nothing to do with anganyas. So it is a contrary process, the one that does not produce the power. it becomes a non-congenial situation. So it should be avoided. Sometimes that is bhava pratikula. It is not anukula, but pratikula. Sometimes the devotees become fearful at the thought of neglecting a prescribed ling of Vaidhi Bhakti and thus committing offense. Uh, if we become fearful uh, uh, of neglecting a particular limb of Vaidhi Bhakti, uh, then uh, it is also committing an offense, tantamount to commit an offense. However, Krishna reassures his devotee that because this path of devotion has been prescribed by him, sincere practitioner will not become offenders. This is something that uh, we have not come across. So understand it. Sometimes the devotee becomes fearful at the thought of neglecting a particular limb of Vaidhi Bhakti and thus committing an offense. If we become fearful and neglect that part of service, then it is committing an offense. Uh, However, Krishna reassures his devotee that because this path of devotion has been prescribed by him, sincere practitioner will not become offenders. न हि अंगोपक्रमे ध्वंसो मद धर्मस्योद्भवनौ अपि माया व्यवसितः सम्यम निर्गुणत्वाद anasitsah. My dear Uddhav, because I have personally established it, this process of devotional service unto me is transcendental and free from any material motivation. Certainly, a devotee never suffers even the slightest loss by adopting this process. This has been told in Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th Canto, 29th chapter, 20th verse. Chakravarti Thakur repeatedly quotes this verse in support of the practice of Tadabhava Pratikula. See the example of this commentary in Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, first canto, second chapter, 296 verse. And further, the translation goes that, my dear Uddhav, because I have personally established it, this process of devotional service unto me in transcendental and free is transcendental and free from any material motivation. Certainly, a devotee never suffers even a slightest loss by adopting this process. Um, that is pertaining to Maya Pratikula. So sometimes the Tadabhava Pratikula practice. But sometimes the devotee becomes fearful at the thought of neglecting a prescribed limb of Vaidhi Bhakti and of thus committing offense. However, Krishna reassures his devotee that because of this path of devotion has been prescribed by him, sincere practitioners will not become offenders. So, even that apparent fear of neglecting, it is not opposing the bhava. And Krishna reassures by his promise that if we are sincere practitioner, this bhava pratikula that makes us fearful will not become an impediment in developing the bhava because it's prescribed by him personally. That is the verse. It says, my dear Uddhav, because I have personally established it, this process of devotional service unto me is transcendental and is free from all the material motivations. So certainly a devotee never suffers even the slightest loss by adopting this process. Mhm. Uh, uh, mhm. The practice of devotional service by such, even in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that Swalpamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. A slightest of this practice of devotion unto him will make the practitioner uh, uh, free from the greatest danger of even fall down. So he should not uh, uh, become fearful or in that sense become complacent not to perform the devotional service. How the five divisions of devotion are either integrated into or distanced from Raganuga Bhakti have been briefly described. The discrimination to recognize which scriptural injunctions are meant to be observed and which are to be rejected as qualification of Raganuga Sadhaka. This is confirmed by Rupa Goswami's words, Vigneyani Manishibihi. This should be known by the discriminating soul. Hold on, please. I was a little distracted. Oh my God. The five divisions of devotion are either integrated into or distanced from Raganuga Bhakti, have been briefly described. Which are the five divisions of devotion?
Tadbhava Maya, Tadbhava Sambandhi, Tadbhava Anukula,
Anukula, Pratikula.
Aviruddha, and then Pratikula.
Okay. So, they are integrated into or distant from the Raganuga Bhakti, have been briefly described. The discrimination to recognize which scriptural injunctions are meant to be observed and which are to be rejected is a qualification of Raganuga sadhana. A Raganuga sadhak can very distinctly, give a recognition through the scriptural injunction, and he thinks that it is favorable and it will certainly help it. And to be rejected is also at his discretion, that he may not be able to employ certain limbs. Okay, so this is the qualification that he should discriminate, only utilize which is favorable, and if it is not favorable, he should reject. So this is confirmed by Rupa Goswami, Vigyayani, Manishibhihi. This should be known by the discriminating soul. Manishina means is intelligent, and intelligence has a function to discriminate between what is favorable and what is unfavorable. This is in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, first canto, second chapter, 296 verse. The Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu verses beginning with Krishnam Smaranam and Seva Sadhak, describing both living in Vrindavan and the mental platform or absorption involved in Raganuga Bhakti. Even though we are not in Vrindavan yet, we have a mental conception of Vrindavan, and our mind is set wherever we are in the atmosphere of Vrindavan. Is involved in Raganuga Bhakti. The verse beginning with Sravanot Kirtanadi describes the devotional practices starting with hearing and chanting Krishna's pastimes. Indeed, hearing and chanting are the fountainhead from which all other practices proceed and are the indispensable limbs of bhakti, without which a practitioner will be unable to follow in the footsteps of Brajvasis. So, Shravanam Kirtanam is the fountainhead of all other practices. In the stepwise progression of devotional service from stage of faith to love, Adau Shraddha, Tato Sadhu Sangata Bhajana Kriya Tha Anartha Nivrittisha Tato Nishtha Ruchi Asakti Bhavan Prem. So, from faith to love, there are variations in the rules governing each stage. Thus, as one progresses from one stage to the next, one invariably gives up certain rules exclusive to that earlier stage and embraces new rules exclusive to the successive one. This is implicit in the process of spiritual advancement, and it is incumbent on the devotee to recognize those rules that are meant to be continued, those meant to be given up, and those meant to be adopted. Generally, we are accustomed to follow rules and regulations that are common, and as if they are indispensable, we stick. But at the same time, in advancement, certain rules and regulations are not working. So, an intelligent discrimination to what is conducive to promote our Raganuga sadhana can be adopted and others can be rejected, which are not much helpful. In the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, the verses beginning from Krishnam Smarana and Seva Sadhak describe both living in Vrindavan and on the mental absorption involved in Raganuga Bhakti. That is, the verse begin with Shravanot Kirtana. Shravanot Kirtanadi describes the devotional practices, starting with hearing and chanting Krishna's pastime. Indeed, hearing and chanting are fountainhead from all other practices proceeds and are indispensable limbs of bhakti, without which practice to follow in the footsteps of Brijavasis. So, Shravanam and Kirtanam will be always continued. In the stepwise progression of devotional service from the stage of faith to love, uh, there are variations in the rules and regulations of each stage. The one that helps to advance in the other stage can be accepted. And the one that is unnecessary does not come even in the picture. Such rules can be avoided. So, in the same way, for each stage of development, if there are some extra rules for that particular stage, should be adopted. And this is the work of always alert and intelligent person who is making a progress in his Raganuga Bhakti. So, uh, if one fails in this regard, his advancement is curtailed. Advancement in Raganuga Bhakti stops. He has to be always mindful. This has been described in Bhakti Aloka by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, first chapter, fourth verse. Thakur Bhaktivinoda has further explained this principle underlying Rupa Goswami's instructions. Now, Bhakti Aloka is the book that Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes, that which are the 6 items that are favorable to devotional service and which are the 6 items which are unfavorable. You know the verses in Upadeshamatra? And Bhaktivinoda writes, the 6 things that promote our devotional service is utsahat, nischayat, dhairyat, tatta karma pravartanat, asangatyago sato vritti, shadvir bhakti prasiddhyati, and atyahara viharascha, atyahara prayasascha, prajalpan niyamagraha, janasangasya laulyam cha, shadvir bhaktir vinashyati. And Bhakti Aloka is a elaborate treatise analyzing all these 12 characteristics that 6 are promoting and 6 are demoting our devotional service. So, he says, in the process of sadhana bhakti, there are 4 stages: Shraddha, Nishtha, Ruchi, and Asakti. Process of sadhana bhakti that is to be continued, the Shraddha, Nishtha, Ruchi, and Asakti. What is the difference between Shraddha and Nishtha? Shraddha that has been verified and gets fixed permanently is called Nishtha. And that stage is of liberation. While the Shraddha is the beginning, but that develops into Nishtha by other 4 stages. That is Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Nivritti. Then and then Shraddha can become verifiable into Nishtha. So the stage of Nishtha is an uncompromisable stage, and one has to go through. After passing those 4 stages, one comes to the level of bhava, which is the doorstep of prema. According to the degree of faith, each level has different rules. As one leaves behind one level and progresses to the next, he should honor the rules of the later and leave aside those of the former. Those who do not give up the rules of previous level are bound by those rules like chains that do not allow him to proceed to the next level. Uh, the rules applied to one level and may not be able to be carried further in the second level. So one must be also intelligent enough to reject those previous rules and accept the new rules that will promote. Like that. Rules are not forever in Raganuga Bhakti. Otherwise, it works like a chain tied up to the leg, and leg will never be advanced to another destination. As one leaves behind uh, one level and progresses to the next, he should honor the rules of later and leave aside those of former. Those who do not give up the rules of previous level are bound by those rules like chain that do not allow him to proceed to the next level. In the process of devotional service, whatever rules are prescribed for each level are all subordinate to the one principal rule. That general rule is given in the Padma Puran as follows. Smartavyah satatam Vishno vismartavyo no chatujit sarva vidhi nishedaha shur etayoreva kinkara. Remembering Krishna is the eternal duty. All other prescriptions mentioned in the Shastras have arisen from this main prescription. Forgetting Krishna is never allowed. All other prohibitions mentioned in the Shastra have arisen from the main prohibition. The cardinal principle of following religion is that always remember the Lord. Satatam smartavyam Vishnu. Continuously we have to remember Lord Vishnu. So that continuity requires momentum and continues to keep it moving on and on. Remembrance cannot stop. Otherwise, how will you remember 24 hours a day? We may not be able to perform certain duties. That is pardonable. But in the realm of remembering Krishna all the time, the other subordinate duties that we have already crossed, they may not be uh, required to be performed. So you should give that up. Whatever is fostering constant remembrance must be taken. So, keeping this main prescription in mind while advancing, the practitioner should give up his attachment for the prescription of the previous level and accept the prescription of next level. Otherwise, he will be guilty of niyamagraha, means obstinately sticking to the rules and regulations, and that does not help in advancement. That's niyamagra will be also an impediment in bhakti. Neglecting rules and regulations is also niyamagraha. So that is also not good. But obstinately sticking to rules and regulations which does not promote us to further advance, that is also to be rejected. So, atyahara, prayasha, prajalpa, then niyamagra, then janasangasya and laulyam. So, prajalpo niyamagra janasangasya laulam cha shadbir bhaktir vinashyati. It will destroy the devotional service. It will not allow you to progress further. So, this is to be understood very clearly. The practitioner of devotional service must always remember this point. That is spoken by Bhaktivinoda Thakur in explaining that Grahasthas, especially these two verses, second and third verse of Upadeshamrita, is applicable. The first verse is for sannyasis, and second and third verse is for Grahasthas. What is for the sannyasi? Then वाक्वेगम मनस क्रोध वेगम जिह्वा वेगम उदरपस्थ वेगम एतान वेगान सो विषहेत धीर सर्वामपि माम पृथ्वीम शशिष्यात्. A sannyasi must conquer the urges, keep it under control. And there are 6 urges. Vacho vegam, urge to speak. Are Baba, speak only what is necessary. Don't speak and misuse your tongue in other subjects. A sannyasi is forbidden. Vacho vegam. Manasa, he should be able to control the urge of mind. He is in control of the mind. It does not allow the mind to think like a sexually. Sexually means simply manorathena sati dhavato bahi. He is riding on the chariot of mind for the external, achievements of the worldly possessions. That is a sexually. So, Krodha Vegam, Jihva Vegam, Udaropastha Vegam. These are the 6 Vegas or urges, and they must be controlled, and a sannyasi is required. Then and then he will be able to make disciples all over the world. But the other 2, Utsahat Nischayat Dhairyat Tatta Karma Pravartanat Sangatyago Sato Vritti Shadbir Bhakti Prasiddhyati, and Atyahara Prayasascha Prajalpa Niyamagra Janasangasya Laulyam Cha Sadbir Bhakti Vinashyati. A householder is supposed to be very careful for the progress in devotional service. 6 are promoting devotional service, 6 are demoting the devotional service. So, like that, that is the example is given. Rupa Goswami says the third verse is outlining the practice of Raganuga Bhakti. Means he has to be careful and avoid that what is detrimental to devotional service. He should not blindly sticking to the principles which are not fruitful in the advanced stage. So he should be intelligently giving it up. Raghunath Das Goswami is a perfect follower of Rupa Goswami, and as such he has elaborated further on Shravanot Kirtanadi verse for our benefit. The following verse is from Mana Siksha, our favorite of Vaishnava, and Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati enjoined his followers to know and recite them daily. This is in Mana Siksha, first part, 4th verse is there. Guru Gosthe Gosthalayishu Sugne Bhusura Gane स्वमन्त्रे श्रीनाम्नि व्रज नवयुव द्वन्द्वसरणे सदा दम्भं भित्त्वा कुरु रतिम् अपूर्वाम् अतितराम् अये श्रवणादे अये स्वान्तराधास्त चतुर्भिः अधिया चेदृतपदः. O mind, I grasp your feet and beg you with the sweet words. Please throw away all your pride and develop intense, extraordinary love for my spiritual master, Vrajabhumi, the people of Vraja, the Vaishnavas, and the Brahmanas, the Gayatri Mantra, the holy name, and the transcendental shelter that is youthful couple of Vraja. We should uh, be getting rid of whatever we have been doing and thinking, oh, we are well off in our practices. But it becomes an obstacle for the internal bhajan. And they are the pride and that has been sticking behind our practices of regulated devotional service, sadhana. And we think we have become expert. So such thinking becomes an obstacle to develop extraordinary love for my spiritual master, Vrajabhumi, the people of Vraja, the Vaishnava, the Brahmanas, the Gayatri Mantra, the holy name, and the transcendental shelter that is youthful couple of Vraja, means Radha Krishna. If we need to be drawn nearer, then we should not become too much proud on our becoming a very stern, disciplined person. न धर्मम श्रुतिगण निरुक्तम किल कुरु व्रजे राधा कृष्ण प्रचुर परिचर्याम इह तनु सचि सुनोम नंदीश्वर पति स्तुत्वे गुरुवरम मुकुंद पृष्ठात्वे स्मरपदम अजस्रम ननुमनः. Mind, don't do the pious or impious deeds prescribed in the Vedas. Intently serve Radha Krishna and Raja. Always remember that Lord Chaitanya is the son of Maharaj Nanda and my Guru is the most dear to Lord Mukunda. Raghunath Das Goswami is rejecting so many of our regulated practices that we become attached or hooked up, but they become detrimental if they are not conducive to develop love of Godhead, means love of Brajavasis, love of the Guru, Gauranga. So, यदिच्छेर आवासं व्रजभुवि स रागं प्रति जनुर् युवा द्वन्द्वं च तच्चेत परिचरितुम् आराध अभिलषे स्वरूपं श्रीरूपं स गणम् इह तस्याग्रजम् अपि स्फुतं प्रेम्णा नित्यं स्मर नाम तदा त्वं शृणु मनः. Mind, listen to me. If you desire to reside in Vraja, birth after birth, and if you desire to directly serve the youthful divine couple, then with great love always remember and bow down before Swarup Damodar Goswami, Rupa Goswami, his elder brother Sanatan Goswami, and all their associates and followers. Because they were totally saturated in the meditation of Brajalila. Asadvartash Veshyas Visrajamati Sarvasya Harinihi Haranihi Kathamukti Vyagraya Na Shruno Kila Sarvatma Gilinahi Api Tyaktva Lakshmim Patim Ratim Iti Ito Vyoma Nainam Vraje Radha Krishna Swarati Manidau Tvam Bhajam Manaha. Give up the prostitute of friendship with non-devotees. Prostitutes who will steal the treasure of your heart. Don't listen to the words of the tigress of impersonal liberation, which devours everyone. Give up attraction for Lord Narayan, which leads to the world of Vaikuntha. O mind, in Vraja worship Radha, Krishna, the two philanthropists who give away the jewel of pure love. All the opulences of Vaikuntha are easily giving up by those who are aspiring to enter into the Vrajadham to worship the embodiment of pure love, Radha and Krishna. So, these are the Manasa Siksha by Raghunath Goswami. And Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj is also putting up another Manasiksha, Dushta Mana Tu Kisera Vaishnava. Both are in the same mood of preventing. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj Manasiksha is very primary and practical in Gaudiya Vaishnavism that we say. But the Brajabasi spirit is much more denser, and Raghunath Das Goswami is the perfect follower of Rupa Goswami, and he is further elaborating the Shravanam and Kirtanam should be continued, but in the selected episodes of Radha Krishna of Vrindavan only, to increase the loving sentiments that are embedded in such description can be imbibed by the practitioner of Raganuga Bhakti. So this covers the chapter number 8, the 5 limbs of practicing, affecting power. So we stop here. Anybody has any question or comments?
There's a question on the chat. There's a couple of questions on the chat from Asita Raja Prabhu about things to be given up. He says, in relation to Tadbhava Pratikula, does it mean we should not visit Divyadesham temples, Chardam temples, etc.?
No, the one that reminds us of Radha Krishna, we should accept. But certain situations that were rather controlling the mind on the yamaniyam aspect, which is also the part of sadhana of a yogi, it should not come as an interference. We should reject that.
And he's asking, what is the place of Madhavendra Puri, who is not attached to taking bath 3 times a day and chanting Gayatri? That's a pretty high level.
Tell me again, what is Madhavendra Puri's?
He said, there's one verse of his where he says, I'm not attached to taking bath 3 times a day, and I'm not attached to Gayatri mantras.
Oh.
That's not,
Yes.
I think.
Yeah. Because the Gayatri and taking bath is pertaining to understand the Lord who is four-handed, who is all-pervading during our conceiving the body. The Lord takes place. So naturally, we worship Om Keshwaya Namaha. He is a Chaturbhuj Narayan. Om Narayana Namaha, Madhavaya Namaha, Govindaya Namaha, Vishnave Namaha, Madhusudhanaya Namaha, Trivikramaya Namaha, Vamanaya Namaha, Sridharaya Namaha, Rishikeshaya Namaha, Padmanabhaya Namaha, Damodaraya Namaha, Vasudevaya. These are all 400 forms. But they do not belong to Vrajabhumi, where we need to. Hello? We have to give that up. How did the meditation of gopis, when Radha and Krishna left Rasalila, they became mad and they were searching after. And Lord Vishnu wanted to take the test, which was completely uncongenial. He hid in a Kadamba tree so the gopis would not see. Let them come near. So when the gopis came near, inquiring about their dearmost Radha Krishna, where are they? Do you know, my dear creeper, my dear bumblebee, my dear so forth and so on. And they were completely, in the rapt separation of Radha and Krishna. And Vishnu came out. Oh, gopis, what are you looking for? And the gopi says, who? Oh, 400 Vishnu. Did you get lost in your way to Vaikuntha that you ended up here? Gopis criticized Vishnu that this place does not belong to you. You have come by mistake. And they ignored him and they went away. So Lord Vishnu became so much frustrated. He kicked that Kadamba tree. So, Etha Kadam Petha Gaon. This village is located on Sonk Road from Govardhan. After Chandra Sarovar, it comes within, I think, 3-4 kilometers only, called Petha. Ant means the Kadam was given a kick by Lord Vishnu. So Kadam tree became bent. Because Lord Vishnu became so angry by the neglect of gopis. And that is Vraja. So thinking of Lord Vishnu and four-handed form and calling out his name and during the Tilakam and the Gayatri and so forth, it's not necessary. That is not favorable mood. Vaikuntha mood is not conducive mood in Golok Vrindavan. It's a completely distinct realm. All
There's
right?
one comment also. There's one comment also by Asita Rajaprabhu again. He says one cannot become discriminating without reading Goswami literature under the guidance of expert Vaishnava like Gurudev and Shivaram Swami. We cannot independently decide to give up one rule to follow the next without becoming a discriminating soul. Otherwise, there's a risk of becoming sahajiya.
That's okay. Guidance in verification is always required. That's why books are our verifications. That's why they are written. They are real guiding lights, well written, well placed, you know. Sometimes in our progressive march, we may do trial and error. And sometimes it fits and other times it does not fit. So those who are progressive devotees, they have to be aware that the best ultimate reference is in the books. Books are the foundation. The literature which has been written in what we call in conversion, what's that word? In pursuance of the Vedic version. This is the Vedic version. Cannot be offended. The one which is giving the higher taste, higher and higher, and the highest is, of course, Brajapumi. So what is the calculation of Vaikuntha there? We may be aware of majesty of Vaikuntha, but there is actually love is virtually absent. It is only in little service of Mother Lakshmi to Narayan, and that position and service is never allotted to any other liberated souls. And Sarsti, Samipya, Salukya, and Sarupya Muktis. So, the literature in pursuance of the Vedic version is showing us the beacon, how to progress. That is our real guide. Books are basis. Our practical realization may come in use. So, mood and mission of the Guru must be followed. Srila Prabhupada already described this mood and mission of the spiritual master. It should be contained within the paramparic, adherence. Because in our parampara, our predecessor Acharya has exalted position of antaranga bhaktas, not only external practitioner bhaktas. Prabhupada allowed that in ISKCON. Now, can you understand what is the advantage of being a Ritvik? Will they be allowed to enter in, to develop Antaranga Bhakta? When they are envious of Guru system? Jai, anybody, anything?
Asita Rajaprabhu is thanking you, understanding what you've explained.
Probably you will never hear this kind of topic being discussed in Ritvik.
I'm not going to go near them. I don't need to know what they're thinking about Guru Maharaj.
You don't need.
No.
But they are propagating now that, see, our philosophy also won because we won the court case of the property issues.
Yes.
They are promoting that.
You know, it's very confusing for the general public because they keep saying
That's okay. That's okay. General public will be simply a standby. They don't get anything. But those who dive deep into the ocean to get the pearls, they get it. The bystanders do not get it anyway. So we have to dive deep. Mahi padyate mahasukhamane dekhanara daje jone.
Okay, Vidya Lalasa has a question. She said, we've been discussing the mood and mission of Srila Prabhupada and the spiritual master. Is there a way to put that in the essence of a short line? What's the essence of the mood and mission of Prabhupada and spiritual master?
Essence of the mood.
Yes, huh?
Propagate the holy name. Prithvi te ache jat nagaradi gram sarvatra hoy be prachar be morana. This is the mission. More is perform your sadhana, chant, hear, remember the holy name and the Supreme Lord. That is the cardinal principle of our practice. It should never be given up because they are the root causes of our further development of our attraction, then all the higher stages of rati, means attraction, then asakti, concentrating the rati and become greedy. That greed, asakti, is a sense of creating bhava. So, those who are simply following four regulative principles and chanting 16 rounds, and that too from somebody who is intermediate between him and Srila Prabhupada's Murti, they are restricting the availability of bhakti by restricting the opportunity to further develop. It's an obligation on a sincere devotee. And he cannot simply cut short, not to take that responsibility and just become a little so-called representative. No. It's a cowardice not to enter into the depth of ocean to get the pearls. He may be hanging around, swimming with head up on the surface of water. But that doesn't mean that he's diving deep. So, to deny the opportunity for development of devotional service itself is a fallacy. And if they won the property issue in the Supreme Law, but they are propagating that Ritvism won. And they are challenging and inviting ISKCON to join Ritvism. There is a condition that we can become only one if ISKCON adopts Ritvicism. Do you agree to join Ritviks?
No, Guru Maharaj, I don't agree.
Why would you deny the opportunity to develop your uh, length and breadth of deep measurement of value of bhakti? More the merrier.
Parajita writes, it refutes the chain of parampara.
Naturally. Our predecessor acharyas were pure devotees, and they showed us the way, and if we do not want to follow their way, is actually insulting them. One who is obsessed with material achievement, uh, it becomes an obstacle, hindrance on the path of uh, what we call prayasa. Ati sarvatra varjayet. That prayas means it's detrimental. Endeavor itself becomes detrimental when Raganuga Bhakti itself is a self impelling uh, uh, activity. It doesn't require external impetus, it is all internally created. When you have a lot of money, uh, you will want to create external edifice, but there is no life in it. Life is always progressive, and that is meant to go back home, back to Godhead. Life belongs there. It does not belong here. It is a temporary place. Material world is a temporary place. So what good it is to manufacture material edifices like 700 foot tall, the highest Hindu temple. And that also generated from an envious desire to the fellow devotees who were ordered by Srila Prabhupada to make a big temple for Vedic planetarium. It is better to be an advanced devotee without much of that external manifestation of great work. For the neophyte, it may be very attractive, but those who are advanced devotees would not give a fig to such an achievement. Our textbook of bhakti, uh, written by Rupa Goswami, they gave us uh, a very progressive march towards going back home, back to Godhead. This person, still calling himself Madhu Pandit, which was given by uh, his spiritual master, he did not take any Ritvik initiation, but yet promoting Ritvik initiation and insulting by neglecting the order of spiritual master. Do you think he is having any credit for pure devotional service? No. Understanding this subject matter that we are progressing, do you think it will be ever taught in his institution? No. So we have to continue the path of Srila Prabhupada and his sincere followers like Shivaram Maharaj, and we can make a tangible understanding and reaffirm our vows to stick in the institution created by Srila Prabhupada and not institution created by so-called Madhu Pandit. Okay?
Another comment by Asita Raja Prabhu.
Right.
What to speak of Vraj, they cannot even go to Vaikuntha because you need to be perfect in Vaidhi sadhana to go to Vaikuntha.
Yes, nowhere. His progress is up to the national, level only, not even Vaikuntha level or Goloka level. He will never progress. And national recognition is already given. Now, what more one can give him? He's finished. Love of Godhead is not the question at all for him. He needs love of recognition. He has been stuck. And I don't think ISKCON is going to budge to his appeal of compromise, peace offer.
We hope not very much.
Anyway. Any other discussion?
Looks like not very much.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you very
We'll
much.
try to see you tomorrow. Hare Krishna.
I'll give you a call, Gurmaj. Something I want to speak to you about.
Okay.